Hello everyone and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, episode 2. We have reached the frontier of space for a little bit. Jebediah, first Kerbin in orbit last episode, through some trial and error of the KV-1, finding out that it's just not aerodynamically sound currently with its capabilities, but we'll see if we can eventually get there with that vehicle, because I do want to use it. It does look cool. So going into the research, we do have some research points to spend. You can see we have 34. We can get more rocketry, so a bigger fuel tank, a reliant liquid fuel engine, or some more survivability in heat shields, parachutes, service bays, and some more science. I'm all for science, so let's go ahead and use that. Now, mission control. Bunch of surveys. Don't really matter to me. Haul TD 25 decoupler into orbit of Kerbin. We haven't even done orbit of Kerbin yet, but I think that's what we should do next. So this TD12 or 25 decoupler, what is that part? Let's take a look real quick. Okay, so that's the radial part. And you know, if I'm gonna be using this one, it's gonna get hauled up there automatically anyways. Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go into orbit today. We have succeeded quite well, I think, otherwise. We're also gonna go to the administration building. And we're probably going to go ahead and sacrifice some of our funds for one science per fund that we receive. I think that's good. Might do a 10% kind of thing there. I mean, that's every 12,000 funds we receive, we'll get one science. So that'll just kind of speed up our science progress, which is good. We're also gonna go ahead and upgrade the launch pad so it can hold a bigger vehicle, something with more parts to it. And we're gonna see if we can't get this Jebediah, or famed pilot, into space at this point. So, how are we gonna do that? Now, last attempt, we definitely had a lot of Delta V. Right, plenty. Let's get a payload on this one. Because what I'm gonna need to happen is some more science. We're going to orbit, we might as well collect additional science. So we're gonna bring some instruments with us today. We're actually gonna finally bring our mystery goo container. Just like that, pack it in sideways, very visible, so you can see all your parts here. I'm gonna bring 2 pressures and double thermometers. So that's pretty good. We're also gonna go ahead and inside, actually no, we can just stick that on the top here. So on the back top, we will install a drogue chute in case we come in a little too quickly. So we'll go ahead and close that. And right beneath this, we're gonna go ahead and install a heat shield to protect our payload. All right, so this is all going to return back to the center for research and development case. Okay, so our vessel is a bit heavier now, but should be okay. So what we'll do for that is I think I could just make it a little bit more powerful. We could just do this, right? A bigger rocket, higher chance of going into orbit. The only problem is, can we deorbit this? And the answer would be probably not. So I will have to bring some fuel and a bit of a rocket. Actually, I'll just do this. I'll bring one of these. You know, we'll just flip our rocket around in space and fire that full solid rocket booster retrograde, and we should be fine. Now, I don't know how well this is going to perform, because let's face it, judging from the last episode, I obviously showing that I don't know what I'm doing. So we have that. This will decouple, parachute, parachute. We want the drogue chute first, though. The main parachute second. All right. That should be enough to get into orbit, I believe. The first three should get us pretty close to space. Last one, we should be able to use that to really extend our orbit. And then the final one to deorbit. Okay. Okay, one orbiter is ready for launch. So we're gonna go ahead to the launch pad, drag the vehicle out, stand it up vertically, and here we go here. All right, so pretty basic of a design. Jebediah, he's ready to go back into space. Here we go. Launch. Not enough power. Not enough power at all. So let's see. So we're gonna do this with 3 instead. I had to destroy the lower section in a very Kerbal fashion. Now that one might not have had full thrust. I'm not 100% sure on that. It might require a full thrust vehicle. Still gaining altitude. Just slowly getting rid of our own debris here. Jebediah looks really calm, you know, he's not really getting too many G-forces pressed on him. Almost 3 Gs throughout this whole flight. Alright, there we go. That is that. So we will start rotating the vehicle at this point. It's really hard to do so. The aerodynamic forces on this is causing this to want to push up, but you know, you just have to fight through it. That's a little warm. All right. So we made it to there. Now this is our last little engine kind of firing here. I just want to see how all this does. Definitely high enough, not far enough. Decoupling failed. Let's go ahead and jettison this heat shield. Yeah, I think there was something wrong with the decoupling there. We got it kind of stuck in there. Now this lower part doesn't have a heat shield, so it would get destroyed. So we're going to revert the flight anyways, because we didn't succeed. The simulation is not favorable. There we go. That'll clear that up. Now let's see. This is 80%, so we need 100, 100. Well, we can probably go back down to 80 here, and probably back down to 80 here. Actually, maybe even 60, because this thing will be so light at that point. So 200s, an 80, a 60, and then this, I guess we'll do 50. And let's just get rid of all this monopropellant, make it a bit lighter. I think that might work. We'll see. We will see. Now, if there's any long-term goals that you guys want to see with the Kerbal Space Program series, do let me know in the comments down below, because I do want to hopefully establish like a moon base, maybe a base on Duna. There's logistical things that need to be happening first. I don't know whether we should just have a space station around Kerbin. Or gnat. Alright, let's get rid of that lower stage. Definitely, we're starting about 1,000 meters higher than we did before. Now, that might not seem like much, but it's a good chunk of the atmosphere kind of already passed through. We're starting at a higher speed too, so we aren't using quite as much fuel from this rocket to get up there. Alright. So I'm going to start rotating. I want to probably go head on over to about 70 degrees at this point. See if we can't just hold it there. Now we are going for longer burns at this point. Approach that, so we'll go all the way over to 45. Come on. You guys can just hear my mechanical keyboard fighting me for control. Jeb, you're doing pretty good, bud. Now we are nowhere fast enough or really high enough here. As you can see, we didn't quite make it. But I think that's kind of a proof of concept. Very smooth up to almost the edge of space. I think we just need fewer stages and maybe just one large heavy stage and then a orbital stage completely. So we might have to switch over to liquid fuel. But what I want to do is bring home some science so that we can do that properly here. So we're just going to burn. See what happens. How far we can get it. We might be able to make it to some new land. I mean, we succeeded in making almost an ICBM missile. So we'll come up, and I think now is a good time to do some science. So crew report, we're in the really upper age stages of the atmosphere. Not quite orbital. But we can definitely get some science out of this. We're going to close that down. All right. Gonna go ahead and kick. Get some separation from that lower stage. We're basically walking our way up through the different science tiers here at this point, and I am perfectly fine with it. Slow and steady. Good constant research coming in. So we have our heat shield protecting our science instruments, and I'll collect some more science once we get out of the heat effects here. Alright, so we're out of the heat effects. We'll open this back up. Log some more temperature data, some pressure data from the upper atmosphere. And see what the goo says. Close it. Let's go ahead and deploy our drone chute. Slow us down a little bit more. We are heavier. So that'll do a good job at that. And about 200 meters a second, we'll deploy secondary chute. Drone chute is open. Main chute is open, and we got that 7 meters a second descent. That's exactly what you want to see. Might take a while for you guys though, because we have a nice slow radar here. 400 300, 200. Now you can see these are actually lining up perfectly this time, because this is, again, sea level. And splashdown. Oh my, look at the moon. I can't see it now. There it is. Look at that. We'll go there one day, guys. One day our space program will be good enough. EVA. Can't really gather any more water, it seems. And we'll cover this vessel. We'll send out a boat, get Jebediah, pick him back up. Alright. How much science did we get from that by itself? 71. I mean, that's a lot of science. We got some money back. Jebediah still not leveled up, but 52 science earned, 71 total science now. So if we go into the R&D center, we can get some general rocketry. And now this is where choices become a little harder. I think what I want. We can do general aviation. We can make our first little plane, do some surveys on the surface, but I think that would be a little boring. Science Junior, storage unit, all this stuff looks good. Let's go ahead and just get straight into advanced rocketry. You want to go higher, faster, and at a better rate here, so I think that makes the most sense. Alright. Take a look at our current MK1 orbital unit. We'll upgrade this to 2.0. Description is going to be space or explosion. Nah, space or bust. We'll just mimic the login screen there. All right, space or bust. So, as you can see, we have this now. Nice heavy lifters. So with the help of these, we could probably get into orbit. So we're gonna bring 2 of them, probably. And we will get rid of this stage. This has variants. Ooh, my. So these are some of the new parts added with the game. Very pricey though. Definitely very pricey. And it would kind of end the streamlined look of our ship here. So I'm gonna do a small engine. You know, just so we can come home. I mean, maybe if I wanted to keep this really streamlined, I could do this. Right? Like, how streamlined is that? And then the TD12. Now the 25 is what's really the thing asking to be used, I think, for that. But we don't really have it yet. Now this could also create some issues with decoupling, but you know what? I'm fine with it. Alright. 2, 3, and 4. We are then going to grab the swivel engine so we can have some vectoring control, so we're not relying 100% on the gyros this time. We are then going to add a couple here. It doesn't necessarily matter which way you put these on. I mean, as long as it's symmetrical. And it might help if you actually put the rockets on there symmetrical too. There we go. Alright, and let's add some aerodynamic features to these. So these we will tell to only be at 70% thrust, that way they last a little bit longer. They're going to be doing a lot of the heavy beginning lifting through the lower atmospheres. This whole upper stage should be just fine. So it's a 16,000 credit rocket here. Now, if need be, I can go ahead and turn this engine on and off, throttle it. That's the great thing about it. Throttle it way down. So this should do it. So we essentially have a 4-stage rocket. We have stage 1, which is the heavy lifters. Stage 2, the main core. Stage 3, we have the deorbiter. And then stage 4 is simply the return vessel. Everything else gets tossed and thrown away. So here we go. We're gonna give this a shot. Jebediah is probably gonna return for us. He's really excited to finally go back into space, and also get around the whole planet here. Again, another world first for the space program. So I'm gonna throttle down to about 1 notch. Get some lift. She's looking good, I think. And we have that moon, our main goal behind us here on this launch. Very beautiful. Jebediah, very happy with the way this is proceeding. Already at 100 meters a second. Halfway through the first stage. Approaching kind of max pressure with this lower atmosphere and the speed we are going. It's getting darker and darker the higher we go here. And attach, throttle up, and we'll throttle to max. Start rolling the vessel over. Probably 60 degrees. There we go. Take a look at our altitude, 30,000. Pretty good. All right, we're gonna roll to 40 degrees now. Really start stretching this out. All right, 15 degrees for maximum speed. About 75, we'll probably shut down the engine and await the next burn. There we go. Turn off SAS. No sense wasting the batteries for it. Jeb, rotate your vessel See if you can see the planet at all. Doesn't. There it is. There's the curvature of Kerbin. Right there. Altitude's 60 currently, which is good. Velocity's holding. And I would say pretty much at 70,000 meters all the way through until we hit orbit. We'll be burning the rest of this fuel off. All right, here we go. Pointing horizontal. Looking pretty good. We have the space music, if nothing else. Whew. A little bit of a mishap with separation, stage separation. Jebediah looks to be okay. Now, we did not complete the orbital burn, so we're not quite there yet. So what we'll do is, after 81,000, we'll start burning again. Okay. This is a tough decision, because if I end up wasting all of our fuel getting into orbit, I won't have enough to get back out. There we go. We have achieved orbit, people. With our dual thrust upper stage here. Jebediah, congratulations. You are the first one to reach orbit here. Hope it feels good for you. As it just rolls through space now. Alright, let's take a crew report from orbit. Not really going to do anything with that, so that's fine. We'll open this up. Observe the goo. It'll be interesting trying to recover this vessel, taking a look at the interior. These rockets seem to be in the way of a lot of this. See, there's a way for me. Yep, okay, there we go. Log pressure data. I know it's pretty dark for you guys. Probably can't see much. Here, I'll rotate the vessel. That's a little bit more of a pretty picture. Alright, so we do need to rotate it retro. And how much electric charge we got? We got plenty of electric charge. So we'll go ahead, do a quick orbit, and we will try and land near the Space Center, I would say. There we go. So we're going to bring this down. Probably 25,000. There we go. And we will prepare for the ride of our lives here. I'm a little tempted to just keep this whole section through the whole re-entry phase. Not necessarily because I want to, but I might just have to for fear that the engineers have not built this to be quite sound, and it could just become a deadly re-entry if we try and separate these. We already had one mishap on separation. I'm definitely concerned about a second mishap. So ground control has basically told us to hold steady and kind of see what happened here as we progress through the light side now. We are entering the atmosphere. The shape of our vessel is going to really, note to self, time dilation makes it hard to control. Yeah, see, the shape of our vehicle here is going to make this a little bit of a hot re-entry for sure. A lot of things could go wrong with this one. You can see the atmosphere not liking that angle. So we'll have to use the gyroscope in there. Over some deserts at this point. In fact, I could go ahead and risk this. And maybe even take a crew report, see if there's anything. Nope. We are starting to heat up. We are a good distance away from Kerbin yet, or Space Center, so if this ends up being a ground landing, I'm gonna have to ditch this extra weight. There we go. Kind of angle this a little bit better. Coming in very, very warm. Jeb enjoying all the fireworks outside right now. No overheating warnings. Oh. We lost it. Flip it back around. Okay, so Jebediah is now going nose first, which is not what we want for our parachute. Oh no. Here we go. Just keep using that surface. Jeb has started the engines for maybe some extra control. And they are out of fuel now. Alright. Okay. We have one engine slightly warming up. Parachute for sure warming up at this point, but it's cooling. Look at that. Inside the cockpit. Jeb has no idea what's going on. All he can do is look at his instruments and hope he slows down enough. Come on. Get to that drone chute. Skimming through the atmosphere. Almost like a plane at this point. Drone chute is deployed. Oh, bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. Woo! Very intense couple moments there for Jeb, but he looks to be fine. So he's just gonna go ahead, see if there's any extra little bits of science he can really grab at this point. Nope, nope, and no. So we'll close these down and land in the water here, about 1 continent over from the Space Center, which is fine. We've been tracking his position the whole way, and we have people should be half a day's away. Travel by boat here. Splashes down. Science equipment is okay. Go ahead and gather some ocean readings. Get a crew report, EVA out, see if there's an EVA I can take from this side. I cannot, so we'll go ahead and recover this vessel at this point. So, good job everyone involved, engineers building the ship, and Jebediah with her great flight. We have achieved orbit. We have earned 52 science. We're back up to 76, so that is a good amount. A bit of money comes back into our coffers, and Jebediah is level 1 pilot. So as the sun sets on the Space Center here, we're going to go ahead and end this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are enjoying Kerbal Space Program, make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment down below on maybe some long-term goals you want us to achieve, and I'll see you guys in the next video.